On the last tip, I talked about the importance of being prepared when you go into an exam. But for some of you, being prepared or lack of being prepared is not your problem. You are going to be very well prepared indeed because you work very, very hard. No, the people I want to talk to today are the people who have a very different kind of problem. You're the kind of kid for whom anything less than an A star in every single subject you're taking is a catastrophe. And you are taking 11 GCSE subjects. 11! I mean, no wonder you're working so hard. No wonder you're working so hard to be so well prepared. And no wonder you're so stressed out in spite of the fact that you are probably one of the best prepared kids in your class. No, you need help of a different kind. What you need is something to give you a sense of proportion. Something that will just help you to calm down a bit. And the way you do that is to build a bit of wriggle room into your preparedness. Because you see, there is actually a lot more wriggle room than you probably realise. But just to explain what I mean by that, I want to get away from the subject of exams and use the kind of example you probably come across in everyday life. Let's pretend for a moment that I'm taking my family on holiday somewhere abroad, and I have to catch a plane from Heathrow Airport. And let's suppose the plane is scheduled to take off at 12 noon. Now, to allow plenty of time to get through check-in and security, that means I really have to be at Heathrow Airport no later than 10 o'clock in the morning, don't I? And let's say I live approximately 2 hours drive from Heathrow. That means I ought to be leaving home no later than 8 o'clock in the morning. But even that is pushing it a bit, isn't it? Because there could be delays on the journey. There might be roadworks, there could be diversions, there might be carnage on the M4. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. If I've got any sense, I will probably leave home about 7 o'clock in the morning. Because, you see, these sort of delays are not something I can do anything about. If there are roadworks or diversions or carnage on the motorway, I can't prevent that. But I can build them into my plan. I can plan my journey so that I take those possibilities into account. And if there are no delays, I have a nice smooth journey, and I arrive completely relaxed and chilled, having stopped to have a coffee on the way. But even if I have a bad journey and I am held up, it's no great sweat, because I allowed for that. But suppose I don't build wriggle room into my journey. Let's suppose I allow just enough time to get there. And then there's a delay of some sort. Now I begin to panic, don't I? In fact, things get worse, because now I'm probably driving like a lunatic to try and make up lost time. So now I've got a double anxiety. Not only am I worried that I might miss my flight, I'm also worried I might get a speeding ticket on the way. So I arrive really stressed out. I've had a miserable journey, and it was all completely unnecessary, because all I needed to do was to build a bit of wriggle room into my journey plan. Are you with me so far? Right. So where does wriggle room come into exam preparation? Let's talk first of all about GCSEs. And you're taking 11 subjects. Now, chances are, if you're that keen to do well, chances are you're the kind of student whose plan is to get into the sixth form. to qualify to get into the sixth form. That is actually the most important part of your objective, right? Now, you do not need 11 A stars to qualify to get into the sixth form. You probably need 5 or 6 grade C or above. So there's a vast amount of wriggle room here. Now, be careful not to misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't aim high. If you're predicted 11 A stars, that's what you should be going for. But if you end up with 10 A stars and a B, 9 A stars and a couple of Bs, okay, that's a bit disappointing. It's not quite what you were hoping for, but you still get into the sixth form, don't you? It's not a disaster. Keep a sense of proportion about this. But the one thing you cannot afford to do is to think, well, I can get in the sixth form with 5 or 6 grade Cs, so I'll aim for grade Cs. No, now that is a very dangerous thing to do. I mean, first of all, you're letting yourself, if you're A star material, you shouldn't be aiming for Cs. But the most dangerous thing about that kind of approach, of course, is that if you're aiming for Cs, it only needs you to end up with 1D that should have been a C, and you're out of the sixth form. Now, that is a disaster. But there's wriggle room. Plenty of wriggle room. Okay, what about A levels? Let's suppose you're setting your bar really high and your goal is to get into one of the Oxford or Cambridge colleges, and they say they will only accept you if you get straight A's. Now, okay, where's the wriggle room there, Mr. Clever Clogs? It appears there's none at all. In a sense, you'd be right. Let's suppose you end up with 2 A's and a B. And Oxbridge being Oxbridge, they write back to you and it's a rejection letter. And you haven't got in. Now that is extremely disappointing. Might even be reason to shed a few tears. But let's be sensible about this. Outside of Oxford and Cambridge, there are lots of very, very good universities who will fall over themselves to accept a student with 2 A's and a B. And those universities also provide extremely good courses, and you will still come out with an extremely good degree which will be recognised, accepted, respected by just about every employer in the land. So yes, it's disappointing that you didn't get into an Oxbridge college, but it's not a catastrophe. It's not the end of your career. There is wriggle room. So, just blow your nose, wipe away the tears, and get yourself a life.